Okay, we're going to start. So it is my pleasure to introduce Sharon Estroff, the founder and CEO of Challenge Island. Ms. Estroff received her undergraduate and graduate degrees from Emory University, where she graduated Phi Beta Kappa and summa cum laude. Ms. Estroff is a true entrepreneur that started Challenge Island as a second-grade teacher and has grown the business to include 100 locations in the US and internationally. I'm excited to hear about Ms. Estroff's story that will hopefully inspire students to think about how they will grow their franchise in the future. So without further ado, Ms. Estroff, please take it away.
Thank you, and hi to all the students. Thank you so much to Dr. Lawrence and Shannon for organizing this. It's always great to be back in a classroom. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about, let me make sure that's going to work. Okay, let's start with sort of the big picture of where Challenge Island is right now with Challenge Island by the number. So we have 110, maybe a little bit more than that even, franchises. We're in 32 states, we're international. We even opened 12 new franchises during the pandemic, which was saying a lot because all the schools were closed. We have a book series launching in 2021. We are number 151 on the 2021 Franchise 500, which we're really proud of, and 13 on the 2021 Top Low-Cost Franchises. We're 198 on Top Global Franchises, and we've been winning all kinds of entrepreneur rankings really since 2018, which we're super proud of. Parents Picks Awards, which of course we're also proud of from the consumer side. And we were a top 3 virtual program in the USA by Business Insider, which we were excited about, being that we weren't a virtual program until not too long ago. And most importantly, we are in 6,000 schools and community locations, many here in Atlanta. And we've had about 1 million children come through, which is exciting. So to give you a sense of what a Challenge Island franchisee looks like, I have a really quick video and I'm hoping this works.
Challenge Island is this great program that enhances children's interpersonal skills about setting the kids up for the 21st century skills. Children will problem solve together and really think outside of the box.
Sharon created this way of teaching that is so imaginative and so different from anything else.
They get the chance to create and play, but also learn at the same time. I am a sales and marketing professional.
I was in finance.
I was a business owner.
I was not in the field of education.
I have been a teacher for 10 years now. I have wanted to own my own business.
I wanted to make a bigger impact with kids.
We have different backgrounds, we got here different ways, but we all trying to make a difference in people's lives.
You don't feel like you're competing with the other franchises?
It's a collaborative community. We build each other up. We work together. It just brings it all together. It's a big family. The sooner you can buy it, the better you can start building your business.
Once you see it, you're not going to want to do anything else.
It's just a great team to be on.
I say go for it, hit the ground running, and don't look back.
If you love working with kids, you love making a difference, Challenge Island is a great organization to be a part of.
So that is where we are now. But I'm going to start. I promised Dr. Lawrence I would give you the story of how this all came to be. And if you had asked me 15, 18 years ago, when I took this picture that I was going to end up having this international franchise, I would have just left. So this is the story of how it started. So I was a second grade teacher at the time. And I had just had my 4th child, and actually my 2nd child is in the law school at GSU. He's a 3rd year. But the 4th child was the one that sort of pushed me into what I call my Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde phase. So what happened to me during that time was I went back to teaching, thinking I could do it all. I can be a teacher, I can have 4 kids at home, I can have a new baby, I can handle everything. And by day, it looked that way. I was cool as a cucumber teacher. I was even voted best teacher in Atlanta by a major Atlanta publication. On the outside, everything looked great. But at night, and definitely the weekends, I was a maternal tossed salad, you might say. And so I decided one night, came up with an idea. I'm going to start Challenge Island and I'm going to turn it into an international franchise. And sure enough, that is not the way it happened at all. So what really happened was I was still trying to teach and I was still trying to make it all work. And my own 4 kids were turning into their own versions of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And I just knew something had to give. I had to do something, but the problem was that as a teacher who came from a family of educators, I just didn't know what else I could possibly do. So I thought about Challenge Island, which was a program I had actually started in my 2nd grade classroom and my students really enjoyed. And I decided to take it out and try to offer it in some local schools, neighborhood schools, and just see how it went, you know, knowing that I was probably going to end up back in the classroom sooner or later, but I wanted to at least give it a try. And to my surprise and joy, Challenge Island was a really big hit. We were a hometown hit. I live in Sandy Springs, East Cobb area, and the schools loved it, the kids loved it, and I had quintupled my teaching salary, which was pretty amazing. And I was so excited. Things were going so well that Mrs. Hyde's daily appearances had been reduced to cameo status for the most part. And I even published a parenting book during that time, given my clear expertise in the area. So if you had asked me then what was a franchise and whether or not Challenge Island could be a franchise, I would have thought you were crazy. I didn't know a franchise from a McDonald's French fry. I thought franchising was big business and restaurants. And I just thought it would be nothing that I would ever be involved with. But then I got a call, and it was from a company that franchised a Lego program. And they said, hey, we want to come up and see Challenge Island. We heard about what you're doing and we want to come up and see it. So they came up, they saw Challenge Island, they loved what they saw. I felt like a celebrity, you know, all these people flying in town just to see my little class. And by the end of the day, they had convinced me that if I let them have Challenge Island and if I let them franchise it along with their Lego program, I was going to be rich. And, you know, of course, as a teacher, that was very enticing and it all just sounded so easy. So before I could figure out where my first luxury vacation was going to be, I had signed away my entire business to this franchising company. And it was not a match made in heaven, unfortunately. It actually didn't take long before I started feeling like that. Michaela Maroney on the Olympic stage, here I was in the big leagues, but something wasn't right. And I wanted Challenge Island back. I knew that it had been a mistake. The reason that it was a mistake was because this franchising company, they understood Legos, and Legos are really rigid and predictable, but Challenge Island is not rigid and predictable. It's in fact anything but rigid and predictable. So they just didn't understand it, and because I had basically sold it to them, there wasn't really anything I could do about it. And this went on. It was about 2012, I think, when we signed that contract. And, you know, this was going on for a few years. And around, you know, 2 years in, I just thought, gosh, it's gone. I'm going to have to come up with another idea because the Lego company at that point had started franchising donuts and they were just done. And I wanted Challenge Island back, but they had sold a few Challenge Island franchises. during that time. So, but they wouldn't give it back to me. But then, like a miracle, karma stepped in and worked some magic. And I won't go into too many details on that. But at the end of the day, I had a franchise. I had 25 franchisees. I was a CEO. I was an international franchisor. And I had absolutely no idea what I was supposed to be doing as either a CEO or an international franchisor. The only thing really that I knew how to do was teach. So what I did was I taught these 25 franchisees how to be a Challenge Island owner, how to build it in their area, which was something that actually nobody had ever taught them before. And what ended up happening was they started making money, and I started making money. And we all really could have used that revenue at the time. And somewhere along the way, I got some great mentors, and I was able to really understand what the business model looks like. So this is what the Challenge Island business model looks like. And I kind of just inherited it, I guess, in a very wacky way. So Challenge Island franchisees, they buy an exclusive territory, and it costs $39,900. And in the franchise world, that's a really low price, especially the all-in, which is under $50,000. There's a lot of franchises, especially those with storefronts, that, you know, you're going to be looking at $500,000, $1 million in order to open it. But Challenge Island is mobile, and we go where the kids are. So really, people could come in for under $50,000. And I really wanted to make it something that was accessible to teachers like me who wanted to leave teaching. And in the beginning, we got almost all teachers, but then something shifted, and we've started getting so many people from so many different backgrounds. We have people from Wall Street, we have former lawyers, we have marketing, you know, you name it. We have an owner that has that background. So our territory, so because we don't have a storefront, we define our territories by zip codes. So what we do is we look at how many elementary schools there are in certain zip codes. And we know that that's going to be the meat of the market for that owner. Most of what they do is going to kind of be that age group, although we do other stuff as well. So we make sure that there's at least 30 elementary schools in those zip codes, and in more densely populated areas, it's going to be fewer zip codes that they'll get. In more rural areas, they'll get more zip codes. But they own them, and they're the only ones that can run Challenge Island within those zip codes. And it works out really well. So it's an owner-operator model. A lot of the really big franchises, especially some of the restaurant franchises, they are more of an absentee owner model, where somebody just buys like a few franchises, and they hire a manager, and you know, they're kind of like behind a desk. Sometimes they come in and order a Chick-fil-A or whatever, but they're not always there. But Challenge Island, the owners are part of it. They're the face of the business. We have found over the years that that's the way that it works best. The owner needs to be the face of the business. We're mobile, and we're home-based, and for a mom like me, or a parent who's trying to balance it all, that's really, really appealing. We don't have a storefront that is required, but we do have about 3 or 4 owners who have chosen to open a storefront. And we don't let them do that until a little bit down the road. But for those owners, it's been a good addition. And we have all different things that they can be doing, multiple profit centers. I'll get into that soon. We have a royalty. So our royalties are 7%, and a 2% marketing on any gross income that they get. We have a 3-day training here in Atlanta. We've been virtual this year though. And we just keep training them, because as a teacher, you know, that's what you do. You don't just learn it all in one day. You do it for your whole life. And so training is a constant ongoing experience at Challenge Island. We have so much support, which is very important to them. And we have a really strong family and collaborative culture. So when they get Challenge Island, they just get everything they need ready to go. Teaching posters, clothes, lesson plans, all the marketing materials that they need. Everything is ready to go. And they're out, really they're open. It's not like like I said, they don't really have to build anything. So they could be running a birthday party the day that they leave training. They're ready to go immediately. And the next slide is a very quick video from one of our owners who opened during the pandemic. Her name is Jessica. And I think she does a really great job of showing how we gear them to just get started on the road, because you want them all to be successful. So she's in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jessica Nathan, and I am thrilled to announce that Challenge Island is now in the Northeast Valley of Phoenix. We are ranked as the #1 franchise for STEM and STEAM education. Challenge Island offers after-school enrichment, camps, field trips, private sessions, birthday parties, family events, Girl Scout workshops, and more. So parents, teachers, and educators, make sure that we make it to your school and your home. So what is STEAM and what is the A so important? STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. While STEM is a left brain discipline, the arts, through creativity and imagination, stimulates the right side of the brain. What I love about Challenge Island and STEAM, it's not just a subject, but it's a mindset. The backbone of our model is to develop in children 21st century skills, or what we know as emotional intelligence. Our approach is to have each child achieve the highest level of thinking, creation during each session. Now, before you go, here's a little bit more about Challenge Island. I cannot wait to bring STEAM to your children and students.
Challenge Island helps children's imaginations by allowing them complete total freedom. We give them a challenge and they have to work collaboratively, communicate to solve that challenge.
These kids are digital natives. They live on devices. They read emojis rather than facial expressions. We feel that they need the opportunity to use the original definition of technology, which was a new solution to a problem.
Okay, so that is Jessica. And I'm just going to take a couple of minutes here to tell you a little more about what Challenge Island is and what we do. Of course, I could go on and on about it because I am so passionate about it, along with all of our owners, but I'm going to just try to get it into a couple of minutes. So yes, we are a STEAM program, which I'm sure you guys have heard of. STEAM is very hot right now, pun intended, and it adds the arts to STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. But it just really balances it all out. It brings the right brain and the left brain together. And Leonardo da Vinci, he was the ultimate STEAM guy. This is a great quote from him: "To develop a complete mind, study the science of art, study the art of science, learn how to see, realize that everything connects to everything else." And it does, for sure. So on Challenge Island, every semester, just like you guys are in your class this semester, your franchising class, every semester the kids sign up for a different island. And they get a passport, and those islands are cross-curricular, which means they have all different topics, and they get to every week they have a challenge on that island. So these are just a few of our islands. This is World Tour. This is one of our semester-long units, and just to give a closer glimpse at what goes on. So on this day, we went to South America. They went to Rio de Janeiro, and for FIFA fans, this one is all about soccer and the importance of soccer in Brazil and we look at some of the architecture of the stadiums. They learn some Portuguese words. You know, we try to give them a full experience. And then they open up their treasure chest, and what's in there? Some cups, some straws, and, you know, just some sort of random things. And their challenge is they need to make a World Cup foosball game using only the materials in their treasure chest. And you're going to see so many different, every group is going to come up with something different. This group here, that's standing up, they had sponsorship signs, and they just went all out, you know, in creating all kinds of things. And to show you what that looks like once it comes to life, this was from a camp I did last summer. So it's just like a 1 second about you can feel the excitement. Okay, so Challenge Island is also 21st century skills. Those skills are all the things that you don't learn in school. There's no test on how creative or flexible or how resilient you are, but yet those are some of the most important skills, and they're the most correlated with future success, way more than IQ, actually. The ability to be resilient and think outside the box will actually serve you far more in life than having a genius IQ, research shows us. So that's what we do in Challenge Island, and the kids get all of these skills. It's about social emotional learning, which especially now coming out of the pandemic is so essential. It's more than, you know, just learning your math facts. It's about learning, you know, how to relate to other people. And that's what Challenge Island does. We are 100% screen-free, imagination-powered, which I love the most, especially, again, now that the kids like us now have been on Zoom. They're on the computers all the time. And there's so many problems. Like, even for you guys, I know, because my kids who are your age, they didn't start on Instagram when they were like 5 years old. But these kids did, you know, they have been on social media since they could pick up a phone, you know, and look at it. So what's happening is there's all kinds of concerns about how is that going to impact these kids as they go through life, and only time will tell. But Challenge Island is here to make a difference and help them reconnect with one another, and just figure out how cool it is to jump on a empty soda bottle and launch a rocket, you know, like they're doing in this picture here. So an entrepreneur recognized that. They even did a little write-up about Challenge Island, that what they love most about us is what we lack, and that is computers, technology, electrical currents, things like that. And we are so excited. As I mentioned, we have a book series coming out. It's going to be sort of magic school bus, magic tree house kind of experience. And it is tied in exactly to what the kids are doing in the classes. So in the classes, they have their treasure chest. In the book, the kids have the treasure chest. They decorate things in a steamy way. In the book, you know, it happens that they build bridges. So it's going to be, I think, I just can't wait to see what this is going to do for the franchise. I think that we were able to sell it. It went in auction to a really great publisher. And the branding, you know, of having Challenge Island at the Target, on the books, you know, on the bookshelf, in the schools, at the book fairs, it's just going to do incredible things. And our franchisees are really excited. And we even had it worked into the contract that the franchisees can sell it as an additional profit center. So you might be wondering, yes?
Can you talk a little bit about how that auction process works, and how you were able to connect?
Sell the book?
Yeah, I mean, can you just talk a little bit about, you know, how that works? Do you auction away and what percentage of like?
Yeah, that, so what happened is, as you might remember, I published a parenting book back during, the early times after I left teaching. And I had a literary agent, and so it really works well if you can try to get a literary agent to publish a book. But if you can't, don't worry, because there's so many other ways to publish a book. But in this case, I had the literary agent, and since she helped me publish Challenge Island, which she ended up selling to Random House, and it was great. She has gotten really big, and she's gotten really into sort of this children's chapter book. So she was the one that came to me and said, let's do this. And we used one of her writers, who was actually an award-winning, Newbery award-winning writer, like really well known, wrote half of it, the fiction part, and I wrote the nonfiction part. And then once we had the book written, we wrote the first book. We sold it as a book series, but we wrote the first book, and we sent it around to different publishers. Now, we talked to some of the like bigger publishers, but the problem with that was that they wanted branding control, and we couldn't let them, necessarily take away all the Challenge Island branding control. So we ended up on sort of a middle-sized publisher that agreed to let us have the logo on the book and call it a Challenge Island book series. And so, but there were several of them. What happens is anyone who's interested, they give you an offer, and they start like bidding what they're going to give you for the book. And they give you what's called an advance. I mean, for us, it wasn't a huge advance. If you're, J.K. Rowling, you're going to get a huge advance. But we got, different offers, and then they told us what their marketing plan was. So we looked at the different offers and marketing plan, and then we signed the contract. So that was really exciting. And
so do they share? So in future sales, is there? So it's just basically a kind of a share of the sales.
Yeah. So, trying to think, I can't remember exactly what the royalty is for it, but yeah, you get the advance, and then once they make back the advance, so let's say the advance is like $30,000, which would be like a lower kind of advance. So then you get that. Then once they make back the $30,000, then they're going to start like giving you royalties on the book, which I can't exactly remember what it was, but then the book agent takes part of the royalties, that we get. But on the bright side, we wrote into the contract that I can buy, so I'm able to buy the book at cost, and then I can sell them to the franchisees at a really low cost. And then that way they can, like if they sell a book to an entire school, let's say the whole school wants to do like a big family event, and they want every family to have it, then the franchisee can sell them the book, and they can get paid for the event plus the book sales. There's lots of just ways that you can work it. So, and they're coming out with a new book like every 6 months. We're coming out with a new book. So it's a 3-book series, and we hope to keep going after that. But
that's great.
Yeah.
And are you going to talk a little bit about where your services are?
Yes, that is the next part. Okay, so yeah, so we're at all different kinds of places. Like, we are in the schools, so we go where the kids are. So where there's kids at the Parks and Rec, there's kids at the YMCA, there's kids at the Girl Scouts. Of course, there's kids in all the schools and the libraries and the Boys and Girls Club. So wherever that is, we go. We also partner with franchises that do have a storefront. So Chick-fil-A, for example, on Mondays, that's their slow night, apparently. And they like for us to come in and do the program because it's like an event that brings families in, because Monday's not the night that like tons of families come in. So it gives them, something to do. We actually use the Chick-fil-A like cups and straws and whatever materials we have of theirs that can brand it for them. We'll use that in our challenges. Let's say we're making like a car or something. And we partner with some of these trampoline parks that have spaces that are not always used, and so we're kind of like on the road show, which we love. Okay, and these are the things that we do. We have three and a half major profit centers. So the first one is our after school enrichment classes. And this is a big business. It's a $8 billion industry. And we go into the classes, the kids get out, the bell rings, and then they come straight to our Challenge Island class so that the parents don't have to pick them up if they're working. They just come to class, and then either the parents pick them up or we take the kid over to the aftercare, which is like babysitting that lasts till at 6:30, and then the child stays there. So that's really big business. We run those. I have at least 100 kids a day in my after school classes, and the franchisees do too. So we also have where we go into the school and we do a field trip. And this is like taking off right now because we've always done it in the school. So we say, island vacation without ever leaving school grounds. So we've always come in and brought the excitement, but now nobody can leave school. So it's like huge, all of a sudden everybody wants Challenge Island because they want to give the kids something different, but they know they can't take the kids out of the school. And so they book us. And if the school is closed down, we can do it virtually. We've been doing a lot of what we call hybrid, where we drop the materials off. They don't want us to come into school, but they'll take the materials and then we do it virtually. Like we'll do whatever they want, which is really great. And then we have camps, and that's another huge profit center. We're so glad that camps are going to be back this summer, and it's just huge industry. The camp curriculum is different than the school year curriculum, so it feels different. It's still STEAM, but it has more of a playful kind of feel, to it. And so we do really well, and we run camps all over the place. Like we're running, we run camps at the YMCA or anywhere where maybe the fancy private schools. I know here, like Westminster, we do camps there, and Lovett and Pace. Places like Georgia State, they might have camps for kids, and we run camps in those locations. So we go where the camps already are. And then once you get more established, you can run them in clubhouses, neighborhood clubhouses, churches. And this summer is big because there's a lot of money right now going to the schools to teach the kids over the summer. So they're hiring us to come in and do our program over the summer. Those are our big ones. Like a close second is Girl Scouts. For some reason, we have this incredible nationwide relationship with the Girl Scouts. They love us because we're such girl-friendly STEM, and we have all kinds of badge and patchwork shops, and there's a lot of cookie money out there. So the franchisees do really well with that. Even through the pandemic, the Girl Scouts stayed just very strong. Of course, it was virtual, but I'll talk more about that in a sec. We do birthday parties. This is what we call a secondary profit center. Some franchisees want to do them, others don't. I personally don't love doing birthday parties, and I don't need to. But some franchisees love doing birthday parties, and they can do very well. So that is called a secondary profit center. So if you kind of think of the primary ones as, if you're Chick-fil-A, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, the birthday party would be like the ice cream sundae that you might go through at 4 o'clock, to get. We also do family events, and these have been really popular with the schools and with anyone wanting to bring in families. We do Challenge Island Junior, which is really cute. You don't make as much money on Challenge Island Junior, but the kids are really cute. And for the owners that want to work with the little ones, that is a great thing for them to do. People do kids nights out. They drop the kids off. The parents go out. We do homeschool, all kinds of things. And we do Challenge Island Senior. One thing that we found, and I know you guys have been learning some about this, is that a lot of the people who were deciding on Challenge Island were also looking at senior care because they're that type of person. They're the type of person who want to help people, the people who look at Challenge Island. And we thought, what if we brought in a senior care, but not like oxygen tank senior care, which is what most of those franchises are, more of a fun senior care. So we brought it in and it was a hit. Not everybody wants to do it, but those that do love it. And we go into the nursing homes, and this was actually Jessica. And so the nursing homes are letting us back in, which is exciting with the vaccines. And we're back at it. And we have found it to be a very helpful sales tool as well for franchises, like I said, because then they can do both. We do team building, STEAM building. We actually trademarked the word, and that's in corporate America. And we don't even change the what we do. Like, it's literally the exact same foosball game or whatever it is. We don't change one thing, and it works so well. And so that's really exciting. And then we have our palm tree pivot. So what do you do when all you do is be in the schools and places where kids are, and all of a sudden everything closes down? So in March of 2020, within 36 hours of the schools just shutting down one after the next, we had launched Home Island. And the reason, well, we could launch it because all we use is household materials. Nobody needed anything specialized, but also because our whole philosophy is sort of this palm tree. The palm tree is our icon. The palm tree bends with the winds. It doesn't break. And when this pandemic came through, you know, I just thought, we've got to do something. We can't just sit around and let this happen. And so we took it online, and it was really, well, the franchisees weren't very happy, truth be told, in the beginning. They're actually really like, there's no way we're doing it. But I was able to teach it for them online in the beginning, and then slowly everyone got comfortable with it, and they realized, you know what, we can do all the same things we were doing, but we can do them virtually. And that's when we got, you know, the top 3 virtual programs for Business Insider. And I just want to show you, this is what a palm tree looks like. And I think this is the secret to Challenge Island's success. So here we are at Home Island.
Oh, I'm having so much fun with Home Island. It's awesome. It challenges you, and when it doesn't work, you get to do it all over again and test it again. Building and learning at the same time, I love it.
It offers them a challenge using just things from around the house.
It's so great watching them play with something that they just built.
We love Challenge Island. It's so much fun.
We're doing all of the same challenges and keeping our kids engaged and stimulated.
So it's been a real highlight of our week.
I just can't think of anything else that's better than this.
It kind of gives them just a little bit of guidance on how to build and create here at home.
And it can just keep them occupied for hours at a time being creative.
We need a golf court. For the first hole, I had a tissue box with the back cut out. I loved it. It was super creative. I love that you're just learning, but you don't even realize it. You're just having so much fun.
Really encourages my son to use his brain and be creative.
He looks forward to it every week. We
Okay, so that is what Home Island looks like. And that kind of leads me, this is my last slide before we can take questions. Some tips for you guys on franchising, entrepreneurship, and life all come from the palm tree. So when the storms come, and they will, always be flexible and bend your trunk with the winds. It's those rigid, you know, oak trees and pine trees that just can't handle it. Stay deeply rooted. Palm trees are always deeply rooted in your purpose and your mission. You cannot remember who you are and what you are, and that will always keep you grounded. Choose strength and resilience over fear. You know, I think that when the pandemic first hit, so many people just kind of said, oh gosh, I'm just going to sit and wait it out. What's going to happen? What's going to happen in my business? But Challenge Island owners, we didn't go that direction. We chose resilience, and it worked. Never be intimidated by the bigger trees of the forest, because when the storm blows over and the rigid pines and oaks are toppled on the ground, It's the small and mighty palm tree that's still standing in the sun. And just finally be a palm tree. That has been a motto of mine and my family's for so many years. And it just makes all the difference in the world. So that is the end of the PowerPoint, if I could figure out how to stop sharing. Okay.
That was great. I mean, I didn't realize how many different revenue streams you had, and you have really done a really great job with the kind of the products in terms of the design. How do you how do you create those, and how many employees do you have actually in the corporate type environment?
Yeah, so we have a graphic designer. One thing, because we are a smaller company, you know, you need to make things work by not having sort of these full-time employees. So we do a lot of contractors. So we have the wonderful graphic designer that we have. He also is a graphic designer for other, you know, some other companies. He's not just in-house. I don't pay him full-time because I couldn't. That's not the structure of the company. One day maybe, but I don't even know if I want to get there, you know. And so we have in our corporate, we have 5 or 6 full-time people just in the office, there for support and you know, all different kinds of things. And then much of what else we do, we will contract out. We have a contracted out CFO. You know, of course, the attorneys are contracted out. Just anything that we can contract out, we do. But within it, we have a very warm, you know, amazing environment. And also because every franchise has a climate, and I think that is probably one of the most underrated parts of franchising, is that when people are looking at franchises, it's so much more than just like, oh, I'm interested in kids. And because Kumon and Challenge Island could not be more different. So you can't just say, you know, and someone who's going to be a fit for Kumon is not a fit for Challenge Island. And I'm going to venture to say somebody who's going to be fit for Challenge Island is not a fit for Kumon. So you have to really like understand the climate of it. And our climate is all about collaboration, and we call it the power of the tribe, the owner's tribe. So everyone helps everyone. And so we all are just like in it together, building the brand. It's a really amazing experience. Most other, especially at the level of those big franchises and the restaurants, they're much more either a top-down type of climate where McDonald's, this is how you do it, exactly how you do it, follow the method and it will work. So if somebody orders a Big Mac with no pickles, it takes 20 minutes because you just broke the system, you know. And then there's another kind of franchise, and it's like this competitive type of environment. And there's more and more, in my opinion, of that, where like they post the leaderboards and it's all about like, who is the best one? And with that thought that that's going to motivate all the owners. So if they post this leaders, you know, this one who made all this money, it's going to entice the one who didn't make as much money to perform better. That's not Challenge Island. It's not how I could ever run a classroom. But you know, that's okay, because there are a lot, nobody that comes, the ones in Challenge Island, if we were like posting leaderboards, they would just crumble because that's just not their personality. Yeah, so I can't even remember exactly what it was.
I thought the target market for kind of older, the older market is obviously an untapped market, especially when you look at TV, where they're always posting this, you know, take this vitamin to help your cognitive ability. So it seems like there's a lot of potential there, given that you know, your whole model is around kind of creativity and challenge and kind of expanding the mind. So do you think you'll have, you know, in the future that will become a larger part of your business, or?
You know, so what we found when we went into the nursing homes and things like that was that and this became sort of a business decision, was that we couldn't make the scope of money, like they'll come in and they can pay you $150 to like work with the residents. So it becomes more of like a act of from the heart, which we love. But what my ideal goal would be to find a way that I could turn that into more money. So we'll go in for a field trip at a school and we're getting, you know, $10 a kid, and then there's 1,000 kids in the school. So like that kind of scope where we could still be doing this, but still be making money for our time and all of that. I haven't yet figured that out, but that doesn't mean that it's not possible. I think, you know, a lot of franchising is, and just running a business is you look for opportunities. Sometimes something seems like a great opportunity, and then you're like, you know, this was such a great idea, but why aren't I making any money on it? And then other ones that you just kind of stumble into, and like the Girl Scouts, you know, somebody asked me to do a workshop, and before I know it, we have owners that are making thousands of dollars a month on the Girl Scouts. We kind of stumbled there. So when you see the promise, then you follow it and you build on it. But you're right. I would love to really build. So if you have ideas, Dr. Lawrence, I would be happy to talk to you about that.
So one of the things that always is a challenge to entrepreneurs is, you know, you'd mentioned before about kind of selling the company, you know, in the early stages, because you kind of have this, and a lot of franchisees also, they franchise internationally before they really know what to do. So are there any things you would tell the students to think about as they develop an idea and they get excited about the idea, what, you know, and some money?
This is what I will tell you. First, and I tell the franchisees this all the time. Everyone is, first of all, the second you have a business, everyone's coming trying to sell you something. You don't need what they're bringing you. You have to be so careful about what you spend your money on, because you don't want to blow it, you know, all on hiring this marketing person that's giving you SEO when your website isn't even worth looking at yet. You know, you have to really be careful, and also just believe in yourself. So many people came to me, especially, there's not many female CEOs in franchising. And the ones that are like much more business-like, you know, than I am. And so I really felt like a fish out of water. And we went to these franchise shows and I thought, and they would just, it's kind of like when I was pregnant, people give me all kinds of unsolicited advice, and they would tell me all the things that I was doing wrong. Oh, you can't do that, and you can't do this. And I used to listen to them, and I didn't have the confidence to say, you know what, I know what I'm doing. And like with Challenge Island, when I got back Challenge Island from the Lego company, there was $10,000. I had spent all of my savings on the legal fees trying to get it back. I didn't even bring that part in, but I had $10,000 in the marketing fund, and that was it. We didn't have another cent. And I just, like I said, I did what I knew, and I knew how to teach, and I knew how to run Challenge Island. And so then it just worked. So don't let other people tell you how it's supposed to be. Nobody knows better than you. And don't sell your concept, because everybody wants, they're like, they smell blood. They're like sharks, and they smell blood in the water, and they say, ooh, look at her. She's a teacher. She doesn't know anything about business. She'll give us a franchise, which I did. They were right. For barely anything, you know, they were giving me like $1,000 every time they sold a franchise for $40,000. And that's a mistake. Like, you don't let them do that to you. But when somebody comes along and you think it's a great opportunity, run with it. So just use your gut. But I think that's the most important thing. And be smart, and don't throw away your money, and work. You have to work all day, all night. Like, this is not easy. I've worked for every penny. Like I can't even, I never have a break. So just know, like, it doesn't come easily. And also just, you have to ride the wave when it comes. So when success is coming, you got to ride it. You can't say, oh, I'm tired, I feel like going and hanging out with my friends, and I'm going to put this on the back burner. No, when that wave is cresting, you got to get your surfboard out and ride it. So,
I mean, there's a lot of franchise, we've talked about in class, a lot of franchise systems where they never get past 10 franchisees or 6 franchisees. And you're at this stage where you're, you're at the stage where you now have enough franchisees that, they get more support. What is your thought of, in terms of, if you think about 10 years from now,
yeah.
where do you see your, we've talked about, in the class, kind of growing the franchise, and sometimes you don't, you reach a point where you don't have the resources to do that. Where do you, so in 10 years from now, how many units would you like to see, and how do you see the growth?
Yeah, one of the luxuries of all of a sudden becoming like this award-winning franchise, and people come to us instead of us having to look for them. Well, there's different things. First of all, in the beginning, especially with the bricks, the Lego franchise, I won't say their name. Their business model, as far as I could tell, was price it at the bottom and just sell it to anyone who had a pulse, and what you end up with is people that are not talented enough in the area to run your business. And so ultimately, even though you might sell, and they grew to, like, on the Lego side, like 700 franchises within a really short period of time, because it was priced at, I think it was like $10,000, right? And they were even giving away a free territory. But the people that were buying it weren't necessarily the ones that needed to be running it. So at first they exploded, and then probably about 4 or 5 years down the line, the businesses all started failing because they weren't the right people to run it, and the business hadn't been developed, in a way to run it. So one of the things that's happened is the quality, not that our original franchisees aren't amazing, but the quality of the franchisees that are coming in are absolutely just incredible. Like, I pinch myself every day. Like, I cannot believe that these people bought a Challenge Island, because they're so incredibly impressive. And so then that sort of grows, and we have gotten the confidence now where we don't need the money. We don't need another sale. $40,000, we don't need that to keep the lights on. And so we say no. When somebody comes through and they're not right, and I think they're not going to make it, we say no. It's not the right franchise for you. And so for us, being able to turn people away and also just limit our growth. Like, we don't want to grow more than probably 25, 30, 40 franchises max a year, because I don't think we can handle it. I think the infrastructure is not ready. So we just take it step by step. I'd also rather see my franchisees that I have now just buy more franchises than just keep bringing in new people, because that's what you want. The ones who know it and they get it and they love it. Let them, like my Dallas franchisee has been really successful, and she just acquired a whole second territory. And she was the right one, so I think in 10 years, I think that, look, would I love to have like 500 franchises? I think so. I don't know. I have yet to figure that out. I know that I want to be here as the founder and the leader for a good while longer. I don't think Challenge Island is ready to run without me yet. And I think when it is, I will know, and when the time is, but it's not any time in the near future. So yeah,
we have a question about kind of international growth, and so we've talked in the class about growing internationally. So what markets do you think are the best markets for your brand? And how do you integrate those international franchisees? And obviously language is a big thing, right? You're in education, it's not selling burgers. So you obviously have to pick, if you go into a new language market, you'd have to develop all new materials for that. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we have learned a lot about the international market. We get a lot of interest out of the Asian market because there's a lot of focus on sort of test scores. And so like sort of that Kumon mentality, but Challenge Island wouldn't necessarily be a fit when we're coming in and we're just like crazy and loud and messy. And, I have to think hard about whether it will be the right fit. We did open in Singapore, and it's a little bit more of a contemporary sort of feel to it. And so that seemed like a better fit at the time than, and also it depends on who's calling you and who's interested. We have found that I think the best fit right now for Challenge Island, we're really focusing on Central America and South America. There is there's a spirit about, so we just opened in Colombia, for example, and Puerto Rico, which, is also, they speak Spanish, and there's there's this like flavor of celebration in the culture. And that is a good match for Challenge Island. I think that it took me a while to realize that, but when we do get calls, we get a lot of interest from countries or from franchisors that I just don't know how Challenge Island is going to do there. And you can also get a lot of people saying, can we just try it out and see? And then you run into copyright issues because there's a lot of people who like steal concepts, and Challenge Island would be really easy to steal. We actually have been running virtual classes in Korea, and the kids have loved it. And so that's been going pretty well. But my goal is truly to focus on the home base. The one that we just opened in Colombia, for example, it's the sister of Jessica. So Jessica loves it. She understands us. Her sister is Jessica, like a clone of Jessica, and her mom. So like we feel like, okay, we know Jessica's the right one. She has communicated to them, what Challenge Island is, and we feel great about them taking it on. So
is that in Spanish then, or is that do you get to create all the materials in Spanish?
Yes. So one of the things that we put in our international franchise agreement, and we make this clear from day one, we are not responsible for translating. They don't want us to be responsible for translating the materials. So that needs to be something that they understand. I mean, look, we're a cheaper franchise. It doesn't cost what it would cost Domino's. And they're going to need to translate it and make sure, because there's a lot of innuendos, that maybe we could translate it, but it's not going to sound exactly right. So we leave that to them. And we do have a lot in Spanish right now. It's, again, I don't want to drain my franchise system here. I don't want to drain my corporate team with expanding too quickly internationally. When an opportunity comes up and I feel like it's a good match, like it was with Colombia, great. But we're not in any rush to take over the world. Like, we're changing lives every day, and we don't have to take over the world.
Absolutely.
That's the difference also between like a female French CEO or a mom CEO. I don't feel the need to take over the world. I feel the need to change the world and make it better for our kids and for the future generations, but I don't personally have to take it over. So we're just like a really out of the box. You can imagine, like, if all these other franchisors are listening to me, they're like, oh my gosh, she does not know what she's talking about. But I do know that it works for us. I also know I don't think I ever want another investor, having been down that road before. When I just wouldn't give up control, having been there before as well. So because then you bring in an investor and they tell you you have to go international when you know it's not, or more international when you know it's not the right choice at the time.
Absolutely. I mean, we've talked about this in class where, obviously, if you give control or equity in your company away, then obviously you have to do what they say, if they have control. And so that's great that you have control and you can do that. So what would be great is, maybe once we get back in person, if we could get you in the classroom, and it'd be fun to do a session down at Georgia State where you actually bring some of your materials and students could actually engage in some of that stuff.
Oh my gosh, we could do a challenge. That
Absolutely.
would be great. We can do that. Definitely. I'm happy to do it
great.
or,
Yeah,
whatever.
Absolutely. I think that, it's been great talking from getting your perspective from a smaller franchise and also for one that has a kind of a limited investment. So in terms of the investment amount is limited due to the fact that you don't have a physical location. So that's great. The students obviously can relate to you, right? Because you're a self-made entrepreneur that and I also appreciate your talking about how much work it is, because I think that one thing that students need to realize is that even if it's a franchise of 100 units, that's a rare thing out there. I mean, even even though it's a smaller franchise system,
I think only 12% will ever hit 100,
right?
Or even 50, or it's true. And for that, I am grateful to the Lego company because they started me in the franchising world. I never would have done this by myself, to go get an FDD and all of that. I wouldn't have known how. And so, even when things are bad and they don't seem like a very good thing at the time, in the end, everything is just preparing you for where you're supposed to be and where you're going to be. So if things don't work out, it's all part of it. Failure, if I had another concept that I tried before Challenge Island. It was called Math Sharks, and nobody wanted to do math like after school, and it wasn't a hit, and it didn't work. And I really worked really hard on that concept. Like I put in so many hours into it, and I thought, why don't you want to do math after school? And then I realized, because they just don't want to do that anymore. And you have to fail in order to succeed.
Absolutely. I think that's a great lesson for students, is that, most entrepreneurs have failed in the past and they've learned a great deal from, those failures. And just because you see success doesn't mean there hasn't been failure in the past. So,
and I would also another thing I was just thinking to say is that it is really important though to go out there and get the experience before you start being an entrepreneur. One of the things that I'm noticing in a lot of kids who are graduating now is it's sort of this gig mentality. Well, I can go out and I can start my own social media company because I am a really great TikToker, and I have a lot of followers. So now people are going to pay me. But it doesn't work like that. You have to think of it. You have to build your platform before you can stand up there and be like, buy my franchise. So I had to be a teacher. I needed to go into this world. I needed to try this business myself, work it myself, become a parenting expert, and write some books. And all of that came together. If I just graduated and thought, okay, I don't really feel like getting a job, or nobody's hiring, I'm just gonna be an entrepreneur and then expect people to buy my franchise, you're not there yet. So you have to be okay with putting in the time and finding your way. I would say that, but know when it's time to move on, because I remember thinking when I was considering leaving teaching, I was scared to death to leave teaching. How am I going to feed my family? How am I going to afford to sign my boys up for Little League? Everything. And I thought, if I am scared, I'm going to be teaching until I'm one of those really old teachers who's like, you know, the grumpy old teacher who sits at her desk and everybody makes fun of her and she's miserable and just waiting to retire. And I said, I'm not going to let that happen to me. So I did it. I did it. But, you know, I needed to have been a teacher for a little while before I was ready to do an educational program, unlike the Lego company that, you know, didn't have an educational foundation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we've learned so much today, and I really appreciate you sharing your life story, and it's been very inspiring for students. And it'd be great to get you in the classroom.
Yes,
in the
we are
future
going to
where
do a challenge for
Absolutely,
sure.
absolutely. And if students have any follow-up questions, is it okay if I share your contact info?
Please, you know, you can email me or go to Challenge Island, www.challenge-island.com. And if you just even do the contact us, I will get it. Or Dr. Lawrence, you know, we'll be able to share.
Awesome.
I'm really easy to reach. I'm on LinkedIn, you know, I'm
Awesome.
around. So.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time today. And we learned so much from you, and hopefully we'll be able to engage with you in the future in person.
It has been a pleasure, and good luck to you guys. I'm excited to meet you next year, maybe.
Absolutely. Take care. Thanks so much, Sharon. Appreciate it.
Okay, great.
Bye-bye.
Bye.